Welcome to the Zono Sports Show, where you know Zonos. Now, first off, let me say Happy New Year to everybody from Zo himself, Alonzo. I'll use my entire first name for you all. Now, as fans, we got the big slice of pie we've been eyeing this year for the college football playoff. Rematch. Yeah, we got a rematch. Clemson versus Alabama. The College Football National Championship is set. Alabama did this by beating Washington, by essentially wearing them down 24-7. Now, I will say that offense didn't look as crisp as we thought they should have looked against that Washington team. However, they were able to get the pick six right before halftime, and they put the game out of reach late, which made it 24-7. And they were able to withstand any threat that Washington was able to pose. Jake Browning, man, what happened to you? I hyped you up all day, all year, big dog. But he did try to do his best for those Huskies. However, it just really seemed like that those DBs really put a lot of pressure on Mr. Jake Browning. But he's got another year to develop. He's only a sophomore, so he'll be back next year. Chris Peterson, another year to work with him in that system. But Alabama, just a supreme team. Don't be salty, Jake Browning. They are the taco that cost a lot on the menu when you pull up at the drive-thru. Now, for those who had turkey or chicken this New Year's, Clemson goose-egged Ohio State 31-0. Now, if you didn't know, Urban Meyer has never been shut out of any football game. So that goes back to his Florida days, his Utah days. This man has never not scored a point in a football game, period. Bowl game, regular season game, championship, anything like that. He's always won. So he's always scored. So kudos to Clemson for coming out and really shutting down a good Ohio State team who was able to beat Oklahoma, who we saw dominate an SEC opponent last night. So I really like this Clemson team against Alabama. But we'll have to talk more about that next show. But I will say J.T. Barrett, 2 picks, no TDs. Jadar Johnson did come out before the game and said, this ain't the best quarterback we face. Well, it looks like they proved it this weekend because they shut these guys down. Ohio State could do nothing. It was finito. From start to finito. Deshaun Watson, 2 interceptions, 2 rush TDs. I think what he may have proved was much more than the fact that he could win. He can win handedly, and he earned every award that he won this postseason. Now, speaking of awards, Louisville may have finessed a Heisman winner in 2016, people. Now, the reason I say that they lost to LSU 29-9, the only highlight I remember is Darius Geis running down the sideline and running over and almost killing our poor punter here in the city. That's the only thing I remember from that bowl game. Lamar and the Cards lost 3 straight games down the stretch. Deshaun's hot. He's got his team in the playoffs. He's in the national championship for his 2nd consecutive year. Who really was the Heisman? That's a question you have to answer yourself if you had a vote. But if you didn't, then we'll just have to wonder and ponder about what could have been different with that award selection. Because at this particular juncture, it looks like Deshaun may be the more valuable player to his team if we look at where everybody finished. However, in that championship, no Lane Kiffin. Now, evidently, after the game Saturday night, Saban relieved Lane Kiffin of his duties as offensive coordinator, saying that he needed to focus more on the FAU job, and it was just something that was in the best interest of both parties. However, I think Lane Kiffin was salty from the jump with Nick Saban because he just does not like the way that Nick Saban goes about articulating his issues to Nick Saban, because I must say they can be very overbearing, belligerent on the sideline where we all see him getting in Lane Kiffin's grill. So can we blame Lane Kiffin? Even though Lane Kiffin, we look at him as the 3rd grade snobby kid who had a bunch of money growing up and is the guy that gets everything and wants everything. I mean, he gets a lot of these jobs, in my opinion, because his dad knew a lot of football. Monty Kiffin, yes, Lane Kiffin may know some, but he's gotten a lot of opportunities, which I think have not always been just. However, cheers to Lane Kiffin, but this may really affect Alabama in the national championship. Yes, I know Steve Sarkisian's been there. However, Lane Kiffin not calling those plays for Jalen Hurts, and he's hearing one voice. That may make a big difference. And I say advantage to Clemson because you don't make an offensive coordinator switch before the national championship. I don't care what the issue is. That's why you have some coworkers you can't work with, and you move on at some point. Not before the project is complete. So Nick Saban, this may come back to bite you in the butt, and you're at 5. That one eluding you to tie up Mr. Paul Bear Bryant, Coach Paul Bear Bryant, is really hanging in the balance considering this decision that you just made. So I sure hope you made the right decision, because if something happened that bad where you had to let Lane Kiffin go immediately, I hope it was the right decision, Nick Saban. Now, moving right along, Florida smacks Iowa 30-3. Western Michigan, their dream season's over. Zach Terrell and Corey Davis, the great wide receiver QB combo, that's done. Wisconsin had to end that. PJ Fleck, great young head coach. He'll get some opportunities to row the boat to a bigger and better school and compete for national championships. But great season for Western Michigan. Auburn lost to Oklahoma and Mayfield's Magic. Also, the most entertaining game of bowl season. USC and Penn State 52-49. This game was fantastic. A lot of fireworks. Penn State scored all their points in the second and third quarter. None in the first or fourth. So that's something I find interesting. What does that say? You start slow and can't finish. That's what that says to me. Does not say playoff team to me, even though they scored 49 points. And the Big Ten did not fare well in this bowl season. Now, one thing that I'd like to call out, Sam Darnold, the freshman quarterback for USC, 33 for 53, 453 yards, 5 TDs, Trevor McSorley, 3 picks. Now, he outshined his counterpart, but Sam Darnold is a star in the making. I mean, this man has the look of a guy who says, I'm the quarterback for USC. Sam Darnold, I throw touchdowns. So I look forward to watching this guy play for Clay Helton next year, because that last drive in the fourth quarter down the stretch where he scores on a go-ahead touchdown to tie the game up, then they get the ball back, he leads them down the field about 10, 15 yards to get a field goal. This freshman is unflappable. He showed me that the game's not too big for him. He looked as though, even when he ran on the field to celebrate, that this is my moment. I've been here. This is what I worked out for. This is why I won those high school games. This is my stage. Pasadena, the Rose Bowl, baby. Put me on. Put me on. So, Sam Darnold, shout out to you, sir. I really like your game, man. Keep developing, young boy. Don't get satisfied. Stay hungry. Stay hungry. Keep soaking that in. Now, one thing I'd like to touch on as far as the NFL goes, actually 2 things. We got to talk about the wild cards that are set. So who will yell Uno when the Super Bowl clock strikes 0? That's something I'd like to know. Now, Raiders versus Texans, it's the backup battle. Yeah, Tom Savage got the concussion. He won't play. Derek Carr broke his leg. He won't play. I mean, you tell somebody to go out there, have a good game, break a leg, but not Derek Carr. You don't want him to not have a healthy leg and not be able to play, because that Raiders defense is good, but if you don't have Derek Carr at quarterback and you throw in a young Connor Cook because Matt McGloin could not do it, that causes some issues of concern for me. Now, the Bosweiler, he got benched behind Tom Savage. However, he got paid all that money, so you have to be a boss against this Raiders defense, Brock Osweiler. Don't be afraid to go out there and win your spot back. They told you didn't deserve the check. They gave you the check. You've had the check. You've been on the bench collecting the check. But now, go out there and earn the check and earn your spot back, Mr. Brock Osweiler. So that's an interesting wild card game that I'd like to watch out for. Now, the second interesting wild card game this weekend for me, Giants versus Packers. The Packers haven't lost since before Thanksgiving. That was November 20th against the Redskins. They've won 6 straight. Now, the Giants, good team. They play well all year. Here, up and down, up and down. We had Odell with the field goal post earlier this year and him getting upset and all this and that. But the receivers, I will say they're very deadly. However, they were in Miami yesterday with Bieber and Johnny Manziel. Johnny Football on that boat, still partying. Johnny Football's so cool, he still gets invited to parties and isn't even playing in the NFL. Isn't that something? But we'll see if this distracts Odell. Sterling, Victor, we'll see if this distracts his team because they went out of town a week before. But Ben McAdoo did come out and say it's a party day, a.k.a. off day. So I look forward to seeing how this matchup works out in Lambeau, in Green Bay, in the cold, on the frozen tundra. We shall see. But, in other words, if we move over to hoops, the NBA quick note for me, Jimmy Butler last night has 52 points. That was against Kemba and the Hornets. Now, Kemba, of course, is a star. He's been a star. He was a star in college with the crossover on Gary McGee in Madison Square Garden against Pittsburgh with the buzzer beater. However, Jimmy Butler, I think that he's really developed as a player per se because he's no longer behind Derrick Rose's shadow lingering in the background. And now he gets to play with an old man named Dwayne Wade. So this helps Jimmy Butler in that offense in Chicago be the focal point and do what he does best because he's young, he can rebound, he can pass, he can shoot. Since Marquette, he's really developed his game and turned into a perennial all-star. So, Jimmy Butler, congrats for the 52 points. You see, I got 52 on my necklace. That was my football number. Shout out. And I look forward to seeing what the Bulls can do. Now, moving over to college hoops, Duke, they done fell off, okay? Danger zone for this team. They're 12-2. They've dropped a little bit. I want to say they're number 6 in the polls right now. They lost to Virginia Tech Saturday. And I would call this a Grayson alert because that's the first game Grayson has not played, and they lose it on the road at Virginia Tech. What happens if he plays that game? I mean, they lost by 14. Is that a missing 14 or 15 from Grayson Allen that makes him win by 1? I can't speak to that, but who knows? Coach K is out leaving for 4 weeks for back surgery, and I don't know what will happen with this team. Where is Grayson? Is he still on the map? Will Coach K let him go ahead and slide back under Coach Jeff Capel? Because Capel's proven he can coach, okay? He's coached at Oklahoma, and he played for Coach K. He's done this before for Coach K when Coach K's had to be out for something. So 4 weeks, that's a month. Will Grayson Allen be able to come back without Coach K under Capel? Can Capel handle and manage Grayson Allen's behavior, or can Grayson police himself and do the right things? That's something I'm interested to see, but I think this is a very dangerous time for the Duke team and what they've got going on there, even with Harry Giles coming back, because we don't know how good Harry Giles will be. Yeah, I've seen a few highlights, but this man has not played in a while. So Duke, tighten up and keep the ship afloat. Now, Baylor's also number 2 now in the AP poll. Wanted to shout that out. Go ahead, Bears. I see you. Baylor. They've got a lot of tall guys on that team with Motley and Luol Seal. I think that's what his name is, the center. But they've got a lot of tall guys on that Baylor team, and they will cause problems in March. And that point guard's good as well, too. He's a first-year player. Now, next show, we'll talk about some national championship breakdown because that's on Monday, of course. So I have to talk to you all the next day. And other shenanigans around town are what we'll mention. So definitely stay tuned and check me out Thursday because I have another fresh one for you guys. But in the meantime, thank you for watching the Zono Sports Show where you know Zo knows.